Okay. God's kingdom is not a selfish kingdom. It's a selfless kingdom. It is not about any one individual self. It is always about other people. That's why it says from the leaders to these, from the greatest of these to the least of these. Hmm. So one way, if you're receiving visions, and it says that God is saying that you're going to get this or that you're going to get that, and you see this in the vision. If someone showed you a vision of a house or a car, that's for you. That didn't come from God because God doesn't bless you unless He blesses you to be a blessing to other people. It's a selfless kingdom. So, because see, it's not like other kingdoms. In other kingdoms, people are expected to die for the king. But see, in God's kingdom, this is the only king who died for his people. This is the only king who died for his people. And he died so that we could go out here and do this ministry work. So they that are great, we don't exercise authority over them that are small. Because it says if you want to be great, you be a servant of others. If you want to be a chief, you be a minister. You do ministry, which is helping others. It says it is the kingdoms of the world. These exercise authority, and they that are great that rule over them. He said it ain't gonna be that way in God's kingdom. It's a selfless kingdom. It forces you to focus on what you can do for others. You know, that's why when you're solving other people's problems, you're actually doing what the kingdom expects you to do. You know, see, that's why each and every one of us has something inside us, but it's not for us. It's for us to be able to bless and help others. God made us, bless us to be blessings for other people. He doesn't bless us for ourselves. That's the trick of the enemy. That's the trick of the adversary. You know, when it talks about do what thou wilt. So, but that is the first satanic commandment of Satanism. Do what thou wilt. That means do you. Whatever you will, do. That is not of God. Because God says put him first. He says, no, you can't do whatever you want. What did Yeshua said? He said, I come to do not my will, but the will of the Father. Mhm. See, the Father loves us so much. If we desire his will is going to become what we desire because he puts that in us so that we don't want nothing that's going to take us away from and out of purpose or destroy us. Put us in the path of all of these spiritual beasts that want to devour you. That's what the word says. It says that be sober, be vigilant, because the devil, your adversary, is like a roaring lion, seeking for whom he may devour. Seeking for whom he may devour. Now, that goes along with what it says in Genesis when the serpent is cursed to eat dust all the days of his life. There's a curse that he cursed the serpent with. So, what that is saying is that since serpents cannot eat dust and sustain dust, I think they said that a serpent tests the dust to, I forget, directions or something. Or I ain't going to do that because I don't know it right now. I ain't gonna pretend I know something I don't. But you know, is that when a serpent is commanded to eat dust, um, cursed to eat dust. Man is made out of the dust of the ground. So what that is saying is that the serpent's curse is that he will swallow the dust of man whole. This is talking about the serpent devouring man, swallowing man whole. So when you hear somebody say the beast, the spiritual beasts have been swallowing people up, that is swallowing up their minds, getting them to listen to and believe whatever they put inside their minds. Because he says that, do you know that he you serve, you are the slaves of? This is spiritual things. See, we all serve spirit. See, we don't have a thing. If you doing what you want, you do it your will, for this shall be the whole of the law. The reason why the adversary would want you to do that is so that you would elevate yourself above the knowledge of God and do whatever it is you want, even if it says, God says, don't do that, that's not good for you. And you do it anyway because it feels good. Now, there's somebody that says, what feels good to you ain't always good for you. See, God knows this. That's why things can tempt you, because they feel good. But even though they're not good for you, see, when you do that, you are exalting yourself above God's knowledge if you don't want to accept what he tells you, and you keep doing it. And of course, the reason why Satan wants you to exalt yourself above the knowledge of God is because when you do that, he gets to swallow you. Mind, body, spirit. Your God. So that he would tell you to do something that's not good for you. And like and what does he want to do? He is the ultimate demagogiac, God of lack, because he owns nothing. So he has nothing unless he takes it from, so steals it from somebody, which is why the thief cometh not, but for to steal, kill, and destroy. So I just wanted to give that little tidbit. Let me pause for a second, see if there's something else that comes up. Okay, something else did come up while I was walking. I remember there was one time I was in Washington, D.C. This was during the election. This was election year, 2020, not 24, the one before that, 2020. This was the one where Trump was running for his second term at the time, and he was running against Joe Biden, incoming from, I think he was the vice president under Obama, so he was running for president this time, and I was there not really to support Trump the man, but I was supporting the one who wanted to be leader, who wanted to pray and return the country back to faith. So I was supporting him. And because he was there trying to return the country back to faith, because he put his life on the line, he put his money on the line. And, the Bible tells us where your money, where your heart is, that's where your treasures are. Where your treasure is, that's where your heart is. And he didn't take a dime of the presidential salary. He put his own money in there. So, his heart was, he just loved the country and he loved the people. And he put himself on the line and he stood up for everybody. And it was sad that a lot of people couldn't really see what he was doing. And the reason why is that would be a lack of some kind of faith at some point, because faith is trusting what God says, even when you don't see it. Can you demonstrate that you have faith even when your eyes is telling you something completely different? And a lot of people couldn't do that. So they ended up being against somebody that was for them. And that's what Satan wants you to be, for what's against you. But what I was saying, okay, long story short, I didn't want to go into that. Okay, so I was there to support that leader there. And it was one time I was getting ready to evangelize, like preach on the street, like he had me doing before. And I was getting ready to start, and then all of a sudden I received a message. And the message says, it's a trap, it's a setup. They're going to set you up. So I didn't preach. And the reason why, because it wasn't like God spoke directly to me. He was speaking through prophets that had online ministries. And a lot of times, because online ministries, you got three things going on there. You got, sometimes it might be God, sometimes it might be the devil, sometimes it might be Apollyon, or there's one more. And other times it might even be the human factor. If you were to look up U.S. patent number 5159703, that's voice to skull technology. And people have been playing with this thing, and I think because they played with it, they don't believe it. It makes them think that they're God. But remember, the Lord did say that, he did say that he would send a strong delusion so that we would believe the lie. So I think that's part of the strong delusion too, because I've experienced the truth, and nobody can tell me anything different because I've seen it, and I'd be a fool to turn away from it. So, but anyway, I didn't preach that day. And I waited till the next day, and I kind of like felt the moving inside of me where I just wanted to get out there and go out there and say something. And then as soon as I started, sure as rain, it was a setup. You want to know what happened? There were people, it was like they practiced this thing. So it's like they rehearsed it and they were waiting for it. And as soon as I started, because people were out there with the microphone. And at first, I didn't want to take the microphone because I was worried about the setup. But the instant I decided, forget that, I'm going to take the microphone. The instant I took the microphone and started speaking, it was like 3 or 4 people ran up on either side of me and posed. And the two on the end, on the one on the end on the right and the one on the end on the left, both held these long, like 9-foot poles that had these footrests on the bottom of them, and they had the flags on them, and the flag said Biden. And then somebody came and took a picture. While I was preaching, I couldn't believe this was happening. But I couldn't really say anything because there's no way for me to do anything or say anything unless I see the picture, and then I can say what happened. But I never saw the picture. But somebody came, they posed, and they snapped that picture. And right after the picture was snapped, they all ran about, and then one of the persons with the flagpole took the flag and started swinging it and waving the flag almost directly in my face, but not close enough to really be in my distance, not in reach range or anything like that. But it was not far enough distance. But the thing was, the flag is waving, and this was a female. She started chanting like chat, 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 yeah, and it was throwing me off. So I couldn't believe that. And the only thing that I was thinking was, they're going to put that photo online, and there's going to be a whole nother story under it, and people are going to be explaining what that photo is supposed to mean, and people will buy it because we're taught that a picture is worth 1,000 words. But here we are in this time where there was this real calculated lying machine. I think they called it the propaganda machine. It was a lying machine. And while they were doing all this stuff, now why they needed to make it look like I was supporting something that I wasn't, I don't know. I can guess, I can guesstimate, but I don't really know. But that's just a sign, though, because it said the devil don't use any new tricks. He just reuses the same tricks he already has. So it would be the same game, different application. So it could be even today that tricks are being used, lies are being used like this, and especially with the tools that are available. It's like we're in the stratosphere, because now you even got this type of technology that makes it look like, you can't tell the difference. You can barely tell the difference between real videos and fake videos. I mean, it's crazy. I've seen things where they would take certain videos and take certain things out, put certain things in. That means that, just like you got the Bible has different translations, and we read different translations and have a completely different understanding of the same verse. So for that reason, when people are talking about verses, they need to refer to the translation that they're speaking from so that they can understand, because that'll make us know better, where our understanding comes from. And if we're trying to come to a mutual understanding, then we have to have the same source. So that's all I'm going to say for now, because I want to make sure I got enough time to upload before they tell me, no, this video isn't going to work. More than 15 minutes, you got to splice it, do all this other stuff. No. I'm just going ahead and post it now. It's JT.